two more examples here. These examples are going to be a bit more difficult than what we worked on before. So I'd like to go through those with you and again show you how you can use the graphing calculator to find these answers as well. So on this first one, as we're factoring, we hopefully notice that 6 goes into both 6, 18, and 24. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor a 6 out from this expression. So when we do that, 6 is going to go into 6 once, so we're just going to have our x squared. 6 is going to go into negative 18 3 times, so we're going to get minus 3. And then 6 is going to go into 24 4 times, so that would be minus 4. If we wanted to, we could do the distributive property to know that our numbers are right. So 6 times an imaginary 1 would be 6. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. 6 times negative 4 would be negative 24. So now that we have the 6 on the outside, 6 is going to be a number eventually when we come to our final answer. It's going to be located here. Doing the same thing that we did before, now we're trying to find the factors of 4. This negative 4 is going to be something that we will come back to in a moment. So the factors of 4, we're going to have 1 and 4, and then we're going to have 2 and 2. So now the questions are going to be, what signs are we looking for? When we combine our like terms, we need it to be negative. So that means one of these numbers is going to be positive and one's going to be negative. So when we combine to get a negative 3, that means the bigger number is going to have to be negative and the smaller number is going to have to be positive. In this situation, they're both the same numbers, so we'll just make this one positive and this one negative. And now when we do the math, we need negative 3. Well, if you have a positive 1 and you take away 4, that's going to get you to negative 3. So that's the combination you need. If you had 2 minus 2, 2 minus 2 is going to get you to 0. So the combination we need is located up here. So that's what we're going to do. So positive 1, that's going to go in here, our plus 1. And then we have a negative 4, so negative 4 would go in here. So like the example we did before, usually these are going to be set to 0. So that means both of these are set to 0. So that means in this one, x plus 1 is equal to 0. So what number that when you add 1 to it is going to be equal to 0? Well, that's going to be the opposite of positive 1, which is going to be negative 1. So negative 1 plus 1 is going to be 0. So then we come over to our second example, or second factor part over here. We know that something minus 4 is going to give us 0. So we would add 4 to both sides. So the answer here would be 4, or also known as the opposite of negative 4. 4 minus 4 is going to be equal to 0. So we'll come back to that in a moment. We're going to notice in a moment again when we find our graph that it's going to cross at negative 1. We'll see that in a moment, and it's going to cross here at positive 4. Now we're going to try to find the vertex, or what's known as the axis of symmetry, which when we draw this line down in a moment on our graph, we're going to find out what this value is here. So in order to do that, we need negative b divided by 2a. Negative b divided by 2a. So remember that the b is this number here. It's in front of the x. We need negative b, the opposite of b. Well, b right now is negative 18. So we need the opposite of negative 18, and the opposite of negative 18 is going to give us positive 18. We're going to divide that by 2a. A again is the number that's in front of the x squared that happens to be 6. We're going to need 2 of those. So 2 of those would give us 2 times 6, which is actually going to give us 12. So we're going to have 18 divided by 12, and we could simplify that. 6 is going to go into each of those numbers. 6 is going to go into 18 3 times, and 6 is going to go into 12 2 times, so it's going to be 3 halves. So our vertex here is going to be 3 halves. 3 halves is also known as 1.5 or 1.5. So this should be crossing down here. This dot here, when we see it in a moment, should be at 1.5 or halfway between 1 and 2. So now we're going to click on the link here. We're going to go to our graphing calculator. So we need 6x squared minus 18x minus 24. So we're going to type in 6x. To get our squared, we're going to go here, squared. We don't need that now. We said it's going to be minus 18 plus minus 24. So minus 18x minus 24. So notice what we have. This is here crossing at -1, and that's what we said one of the solutions would be. We needed to also cross at +4. There it is at +4, so that works. And when we scroll all the way down to see where the bottom part of this is going to be, when we scroll all the way down, you can tell it goes down pretty far. That's actually going to happen to be here. We can't see, and it won't show us right now at the moment what that line happens to be. But as we scroll back up, we're going to be able to tell that that axis of symmetry is going to be right around here, which is going to be at 1.5. This line here would represent 1, that represents 2. So this would represent 1.5. And again, if we were to draw that line coming all the way down, that line here would be right here, which is at 1.5. Thanks for watching.